So thanks for coming back to the Carl Higbie Show, which formerly known as Liberty and Cocktails. I'm sitting here with Rob O'Neill at his apartment in the city, and I walk in and he's watching the Food Network. Rob, how you doing, man?
I'm well. Food Network, that's my go-to.
That's your go-to?
When I don't have the news on, I'm tired of hearing about, the 24-hour news cycle. Like pretty much the same story every single hour. So it's like, I'll flip over here and watch
someone else's opinion.
Man versus food or bizarre foods or whatever. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
It's the other day I was watching Fox News and I was just like, Jesus, is this like the same story over and over and over again?
Once you get in the news cycle, you just but they got to keep talking 24 hours. Have you
ever seen Chef Smith report like the news live? He's like, well, yeah, and
I think he's good.
I couldn't talk like that.
He's a pro.
He can talk about nothing for an hour.
Yes, he can. I like how he gets his producers involved too. He's got his own studio there.
Yeah,
and those are all his peeps. And his I don't think I've ever been in that studio.
When he walks over to the microphone, it's like, yo, what do you think about this?
It's pretty funny.
They're like, I don't know, I just work here, man. So I wanted to talk to you about some stuff, and what's trending now is the patriotism or the lack thereof from people on the left. And this Kaepernick thing this morning pissed me off to no end. I was annoyed because he's waged a campaign about how bad America is, yet he is a black man growing up in America that started these protests over racial inequality, particularly in regards to police brutality and things like that. But what he doesn't recognize is the fact that he was raised and adopted by a white family, raised Christian. He has never had any type of any type of restrictions or discrimination against him to the extent that has hindered him. He's on a football field protesting the very flag that you and I absolutely loved, bled, and died for, and are willing to die for. And he's making 40 times what his average white constituents is making in an NFL that is comprised 70% of black people. Like, where's the inequality?
Yeah, I think that started off as laziness. I think that because he's dating Nessa, that she's a DJ with some far left views. I think she kind of encouraged him to do it. And if you notice, he sat down and then he was wearing the pig's socks, and he had to come up with an excuse for what he was doing. I think, I think it's the wrong time to be doing it. I think that sports and entertainment should unite us, especially sports. But at the beginning of a game, any sporting event, that's 1 minute where you can put your political differences aside and just stand there as Americans. And I've never been treated the way some people have been treated growing up as a white guy in Montana. And like I was saying earlier, every time I've been in handcuffs, I deserved it. But I
was saying, well, I'm a white guy from Greenwich, Connecticut, dude.
Yeah.
Hashtag white privilege.
But I don't understand. I really don't think that. I know a lot of NFL players. I really don't think they're trying to disrespect the troops.
Yeah.
But if you need to keep explaining why you're doing something, why you're protesting, you're doing it wrong. And like we were just talking about before, I mean, I haven't met a vet yet that it doesn't piss off. And even though you say you're not trying to disrespect the vets, if the vets tell you you're being disrespectful, do it another way. Yeah. I think the Cowboys did it right. They brought the whole team out. They stood for the National Anthem. They all took a knee together after the anthem.
Yeah.
There's a protest right there. That's good.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Stand during. I'll go and take a knee after the anthem with them.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I know a lot of cops. I know a lot of different people, different races.
Right.
And I don't think the cops are bad people. I don't know what it's like to be, to deal with brutality, but I just think the national anthem is not the time to do it. But I'm against brutality.
Yeah. Well, nobody is for brutality.
I would hope not.
That's like these liberal gun nuts are like, well, if you support the NRA, you're for gun violence. No, you idiot. Nobody's for gun violence.
I don't think so. And I've always said, too, about the gun thing.
Yeah.
I could put a loaded .45 on the table and not touch it. 10,000 years, it won't hurt anybody. It's just going to sit there. It's the person. It's the intent.
Yeah, I mean, it's the and that goes to the whole thing we're seeing now with the intent of people. Like, what's the intent of the protest? I mean, it's not raising awareness for anything but people being pissed off and politically divided.
Well, it does. I think it does divide. I think it has it. And right now, it's about Kaepernick. It's not about his. It's about his contract.
Right.
He was blackballed, so he's going to sue the NFL.
Yeah.
He got this big Nike contract. This is. I mean, Hey, he's capitalist, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for somebody who rails against the system as much as he does.
He's making a lot of money hating this country.
Exactly. That is something too. It's there's been this movement, and I wouldn't even say it's. I mean, it is almost exclusively the left, but it is a lot of people now, especially younger. I mean, I'm 35. How old are you?
42.
You're
Brad. I look good.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say something totally different.
I mean, I'm 35, so it's like my generation and younger, especially on the college campuses, they're being taught almost to like hate America.
Yeah. It sucks because you only know what you're taught.
Right.
And I mean, look at they call it democratic socialism now.
What the hell is that?
Our grandparents fought against socialism in World War II.
Right.
And now they're just rolling over in their graves because of what's happening now. Because even the Marxists said that take over the media, take over the entertainment, take over the schools, we'll have them implode from within, and that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's. I would hope that the whole socialism thing sounds good if it worked. Like everyone be equal, great, but it doesn't work that way. I mean, you already won the lottery by being born in this country, and you were given the freedom to, pursue happiness.
Right.
And you can do whatever you want. I mean, look at me, a fat white kid from Montana who couldn't swim, became a Navy SEAL because of a positive attitude. I'll tell you what. I mean, it's there's a buddy system there, as we know, swim buddies, but you're busting your ass.
I was
at SEAL training, It's like
middle school. I was a fat, pudgy kid with earrings and long hair, wore Hawaiian shirts. I mean, nobody really perceived me as your typical team guy.
And what's cool too is I always say too, Navy SEALs are it's one of the last places with equal opportunity. You have an equal opportunity to show up,
exactly.
And then you perform.
Exactly.
That's it.
I mean, I see all this stuff as equal opportunity is being superseded by equal achievement, and everybody. If you don't achieve, it's not. I mean, it's not because, and you see this now with Harvard. All the discrimination against Asians. They've been saying like, look, Asians can't come into Harvard.
Is that what they're saying?
Oh yeah.
Why?
Because
they're so much smarter than us.
Yeah, demographically, historically, everything.
But you would think you want the best performers there.
Right, but what the Harvard people have said or alluded to, this is not an exact quote, is like, do you want Harvard to be 80% Asian? Look, I want the best man or woman for the job that's coming out of Harvard.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't care what color.
I've said that too. Like if they're competing as like aviators in the Navy, if there are 5 spots, if the top 5 are Asian females, I want 5 Asian females.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. Just performance. I don't know.
Yeah. Especially if I'm they're pre-med or pre-law. Like I want the best damn person defending me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
I don't care if you walk on your hands or what.
But it's interesting to talk about that because a lot of I don't think these are necessarily bad people.
Right.
A lot of the I bet Colin Kaepernick is a nice guy. I've never met him.
Yeah.
Just what are you doing? You know? Come
on.
on.
I know from other team guys who knew Barack Obama, worked in the White House. Yeah. They were like, look, he's actually a pretty nice guy. His policies were awful.
When I met him after the Bin Laden raid, everyone was in a good mood.
Yeah,
but he seemed great.
Yeah, because you made his career.
Yeah. Hey, that was a team effort. I mean, that took guts to. He's got to figure when you get that far in politics, you're a politician.
Yeah.
And the only thing a first-term president wants is a second term. Mm-hmm. And if we fail that mission, he doesn't get elected. So that's a gutsy call. And I mean, it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing too, is like, I always say that, like, I hated Barack Obama's policies. I thought they were terrible. I didn't care what color his skin was, but I thought that his like anti-American, big globalist sentiment was terrible. But I'll give him credit. Look, the guy was well-spoken.
Oh yeah.
Very intelligent, and he'll probably go down as the greatest politician in our lifetime.
One of the best speakers, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember the first time I heard you did a keynote in was that 04?
Something like that.
Or 08? No, 04. It was 04.
Yeah.
Keynote. Yeah. And I remember the first time
he was a senator.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first time I ever heard him speak, I was like, wow, that guy's going to be president.
Yeah.
Same way with John James.
Well, there was some times like I'd hear him sell like total crap policies. I'd be like, man, I kind of want to like him.
He sounds really good.
Yeah. But that's now people saw that, they saw what we got out of it. And that's, enter the rise of Trump. People are like, I'm tired of people who just talk and don't do.
Yes, and that's pretty much politics.
Yeah.
Party politics is that's my, like, underneath Al Qaeda. That's like my least favorite thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you're just you're there
It's
for
up
your,
there, though.
you're there for your party.
Yeah.
Both sides. Like,
Yeah.
let's do something. That's why I like to see a lot of vets get into politics, because Democrat or Republican veterans will get in the same room and discuss it.
Right. And that's the thing too, is like, look, I got crucified by CNN. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. And not one of them, 36 hit pieces on me.
Not one invite.
Not one invite to shows that I had been on almost daily during the campaign. And nobody wanted me to fight back. They always say, like, well, the headline is Carl Higbee racist and blah, 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 or whatever. But I was like, dude, I spent my summers doing mission trips to Central America. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally the head of National Community Service for America. That was the job I resigned from. So I spent my time exclusively in low-income, urban areas, helping people out, helping veterans get off opioid. Like, so, it's kind of like, it's politics, right?
You get involved with politics, they're gonna dig up something.
Play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and then ratings, man. The negativity gets ratings. The positive stuff. What's nice though is I'm on the speaking circuit and I get to travel a lot. And,
if anybody's seen your Instagram, they know.
But I get to talk to people, and it's not as bad out there as people like to portray it.
Well, the thing is too, if you walk 20 miles outside of the three major media markets, L.A., New York, D.C., everybody is completely different. I mean, look at the electoral map; it's all red except for the urban cities. Mm-hmm. Manhattan's like deep blue.
Oh yeah, there.
And I mean, Montana, I don't think there is blue in Montana.
Well, a lot of people are moving out of California up to Montana, so it's purple.
Really?
Yeah, they're getting up there. They a lot of the liberal policies kind of negatively affect some of the community, so they move out and bring their policies with them.
Shocking.
All right.
Yeah. I saw an interesting article. It said it was time for a divorce, and it was a comedy article about splitting the country in two. Liberals on one side, conservatives on the other, and we'll see who needs whose help in 10 years. I mean, it's impossible, and I like the United States of America.
Yes, I do.
Now, however, a San Andreas earthquake might, that might, policy-wise, I wish no ill on people.
No, me either. And I think a lot of people have the best intentions. Like the prime example is
Cory Booker.
Look at the Starbucks straw thing. So they're mad about the straws, because the straws are killing the turtles, not a peep about the hypodermic needles.
Yeah, they're actually letting people inject.
Yeah, they're getting safe spaces
for
to shoot up. I mean, and again, it's all good intentions. Well, if they're going to do it anyway, so we'll give them clean needles. It's still, you're kind of defeating the purpose. And then, so there's no more plastic straws, but then you right next to the candy that's wrapped in plastic. It's like, what's going on?
Well, yeah, I mean, California, the land where you can't have a plastic straw, but you can go shoot up an illegal with a hypodermic needle provided on taxpayer dimes with illegal drugs. I mean, whatever. So one of the other things too is, I get a lot of people who talk about this podcast and they're like, "Oh man, Carl, like you're pretty harsh, like you're pretty intense about stuff, like you're cut and dry. There's no fluff." And I'm like, I equate it back to being a team guy and being in a place where you don't have time necessarily to, basically bullshit people. And I've said it time and time again that when you're in the business of killing, like it changes you and you don't have patience.
It really does. It really does. It's it's like at first, because I remember when obviously there was some stuff going on before 9/11, but not much.
Yeah.
And so once the war started and, friends started getting kills, you're like, well, I need to get in the club. I need to get a kill.
Yeah.
And then when you first get a kill, when you're in the moment, it's so fast.
Yeah.
But you can reflect on it later. And that's when it does change. I don't think that, I think it changed everybody. Everybody that went to war, I think it changed them. Like people ask, I had at the 9/11 museum about the Bin Laden raid, I had a woman come up and she's just cute as ever. She said, "Do you still have nightmares about him?" And I was like, "Why do I have fucking nightmares? We won." Yeah, but then you do have nightmares about dinosaurs and sharks and stuff. Like,
right. I looked at coyotes the other night.
The combat thing does it really though just the how fragile life is. Like we were talking about it earlier. Like you go toe to toe with a 35-year-old dude. Next thing you know, you kill him. It's over.
Right.
And you just start thinking about that. How did I don't know? Just I thought about it. I've shot people in their houses. Armed guys, but like their
families. I've done it too.
They're in there, and so what are they doing now? How did I affect them? It's like you think about this stuff, and it kind of does humanize it. But again, I've also seen Americans, SEALs and Rangers, go in harm's way to move kids out of the gunfight.
Yeah.
The good guys.
Right.
And so Al Qaeda probably wouldn't do that for our
No,
kids.
hell no.
So,
they're targeting them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that
yeah,
New Mexico
that's the
training
Mexico thing.
combo.
Yeah. So they're trying. They're not the people that I killed. They weren't.
They weren't Boy Scouts.
No. And we're elevating the level of intensity with the situation. We're not trying to go in to kill people. We're trying to be precise.
Right.
But when they do fight, which they did, you got to neutralize them. And I want to, we all want to go home too. That's part of the thing. So in order to help the guy next to me and he's helping me, we're going to have to kill people.
Yeah.
And that's just,
And you're the perfect guy to help me kind of humanize this, because I've never really had anybody on that can talk about like high profile, war. Mm-hmm. And I mean, look, I don't have the same experience you do, but I've been in the shit in Baghdad and Fallujah and around there.
That's real stuff.
And I mean, you were there at the same time as I was, and it was, people always look at me and they're like, "Well, Carl, you're such an ass," with your commentary on CNN or whatever. It's like, like it's just I don't have time for this bullshit of people, trying to dance around the subject and use talking points to discredit some guy that, like, look, I give a damn about Trump because while he may not be perfect for everyone, he's perfect for me. And I want people to, just to hear that from a simple point of like, look, I'm not here to, care about who he had sex with 20 years ago. Like, I care about what the dude is.
What's he doing now?
Yeah, what's he doing now? And one of the big things that he's doing is, he cares about the troops. And when I see him make comments, like this Bob Woodward's coming out with this new book where, allegedly in there, Trump says that, like he's ripping the generals. He's like, these guys could run it better from their, but run it better from the ground. Like, what are you doing? Like, how many more people are going to have to die or lose limbs? Like, I respect that, man. Like, I don't think a lot of people see it that way.
No, I don't think so. Again, nothing against general officers. Anyone who put their hand up and serve the country.
Yeah,
kudos.
But I think that once you get to that general level, you're a politician.
I think the issue is now you need to get appointed to the next rank, so you're going to tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah. Sorry, we in the background, we're watching the Food Network.
Watching steak on
steak
get cooked.
There's a bunch of steak getting cooked on TV.
There comes a point where you just tell them the good news. You don't want to piss your boss off. And you kind of get disassociated. Like, so the person that I brief is going to go brief the general. So that major is going to tell the general what he wants to hear, what's happening on the ground. We saw stuff in Afghanistan in 2005. The war was basically over in Afghanistan. We had it won. Yeah. And we had a couple guys, special operators, living in safe houses in different places. And they decided, because the surge worked in Iraq, that we're going to try it again in Afghanistan. And so this is not 2005, but they eventually led to the point where they're going to move the special operators out of the safe houses onto the base. They're going to put up the walls, bring in a bunch of new troops and MRAPs. Nobody gets off base unless they're the 20-year-old scared kid driving 100 miles an hour. And the vendors where we were shopping before, they bring 4 of them onto the base. They jack the prices up 800%. They get rich. The locals see that. We're running over their kids. What do you think's going to happen? They're going to start hating us. Well, but that's because someone just told, we told them that, but they didn't. Well, this is the way we've always done it type of shit. And it failed.
But what it is it's a risk-averse commander somewhere who's thinking about how he can, survive his command, not necessarily progress the war effort, but survive his tenured, and then go on to do whatever. And I see that, and it just drives me nuts. And like, that's the same thing when we were going back to killing before is, how many ops did you come back from where there's some JAG officer who's sitting there like, oh my God, can you believe, like, you killed innocent people. Why did you? Like, no, we didn't. We killed people who were shooting. Well, the locals didn't find any weapons on them. Of course they didn't.
Because they grabbed them.
Yeah, exactly.
They hid them. It got to the point with the shooter statements.
Oh, yeah.
And so we would have, they called them Afghan-led missions, which, whatever.
Sure.
They were there.
Yeah, present.
But they'll, when you killed someone, they would have a shooter statement, and you have to have an Afghan sign it. And the guy couldn't even write, so he literally put an X.
Yeah.
And they're taking his word for it. It's like, I swear to God, I'm not trying to murder people out here. There was bad people. It was the point where if we would shoot them, we would always take their picture to bring back.
Just in case.
Then all of a sudden, we'd give them the intel. And then they say, well, there's no weapon in the picture. It's like, well, Then you put a weapon on the guy.
First thing you do is kick the weapon away.
Yeah, and then they'll say, "Well, this doesn't look natural. How did it fall?" It's like, "Well, he dropped the damn thing. It fell over here. I couldn't get him." Jesus. And you're just trying to.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not in show business. I'm in the business of war.
Like that show that pisses me off is NCIS, because Mark Harmon makes them look so cool. NCIS pretty much is out there trying to burn sailors.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to get them, catch them doing something.
I'll say I had a run-in with NCIS. I mean, in 2009, we were court-martialed for prisoner abuse. And,
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, it was total crap.
How dare you punch a terrorist?
The thing is like, I'm going to be honest, like, I've said time and time again, like, bro, we did stuff over there that wasn't always by the book, but that was one op that was 100% by the book.
Yeah, right.
And it was, I mean, we were white glove treatment, and they take his word of a terrorist over 8
And he was
decorated
involved with
teammates.
the damn...
Blackwater Bridge.
The Blackwater Bridge, yeah.
Yeah. He was the dude who hung the other seals.
Hung the other seals, yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, like, look, if we'd known we were going to get in trouble for it, we might as well have gone through with it anyway. But, I mean, it was, and we had the legal authority to shoot him on target.
Of course.
And we were told, don't shoot him because, you know, it looks bad for the war effort. I was like, give me a break.
Yeah. Well, even when people say about the Bin Laden raid, they're like, where's the body cam footage? And like, nobody wore a camera on that mission.
Yeah.
You think I want you guys watching on a Monday morning and saying, hey, I question whether or not this... Beat it. Just beat it.
Well, that's the thing, too, is like all these people, and that, you know, going back to what we were talking about earlier, is I have so many people, you know, I mean, look, like my in-laws are liberal-ish, and I've had other people tell me that, well, you know, how do you know, like, how do you know you didn't kill innocent civilians? I'm like, when I dropped a bomb, maybe I did, but it's, you know what, I also killed the people who were trying to kill me, to keep me from coming home to my family.
Yeah,
so let's talk about us coming home to our families here in America first. And I tell people, like, you know, and I'm the first one to say, like, when I have a humanizing moment, like one of my most humanizing moments was, you know, taking the life of a younger person overseas, and I was like, it hurts. Like, I have kids, and I look at my kids, and I'm like, you know, that humanizes you, man.
That's all it is.
Makes you respect life, and, you know, the notion of taking a life, it's not hoorah in the movies and the video games.
No.
It's like, holy shit, I just changed the course of an entire family tree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then you get deep into thinking about that too, and over there too. There, you know, there's so many kids. There's so many. I mean, they have extra wives, and they have like 3 wives and a bunch of kids, and you blast that guy, and I mean, bad guy, but then you
provide.
What are they doing now? You know, it's like they remember that night.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. And then we were talking about it earlier too. Like when you call in CAS, you see people vanish.
Yeah.
We were actually in the 05 deployment when the lone survivor happened, and we had a call in. We called in A-10s on Taliban dudes.
That was my platoon in Op Red Wing.
Was it? Oh, that
was the platoon I ended up going to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we called in A-10s, and that's obviously the
flying gun.
They came up with that saying. There's a meme out there now that I think they came up with on the mountain when they said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Except an A-10. An A-10 will fucking kill you.
Yeah. I mean, we laugh about that because, like, we've been
it's
there.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like a dragon.
It is. You know, that's the other thing. Is people want to armchair I was on CNN, again, with some general who we were debating who would be a better commander-in-chief, Hillary or Trump, and obviously, you know where I fall on that one.
True.
And I told the guy, I was like, you know, respectfully, people like you are the reason we lose wars. Because the guy was like, well, we need diplomacy and we need to, you know, measure it. It's like, no, when you go to war, you need to wreak havoc and kill all the bad guys.
Yeah, kill them.
And then use diplomacy.
Yes. Kill them. Yeah, diplomacy with, now don't do this again or we'll come back.
Yeah, shame on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at, like we said, in Afghanistan, all of a sudden we have our Marines and soldiers into nation building.
Yeah.
That's not what they do.
No,
that's where you need the diplomats.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I always said on, you know, I said that in one of my books where I was just like, look, you know, you want to kill bad guys, you send soldiers. You want to be diplomatic, send diplomats.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work, you send us back in.
Send us back in.
But don't hold our hand. Don't put body cams on us.
Micromanagement. Yeah, and
man.
that's a problem with a lot of them. The longer we stay there, the more. I remember being in fights where, you know, guys maneuver from trees into a cave, and you try to call a hellfire, and they'll say, "We're not saying there are women and children in the cave.
Yeah.
We just can't prove that there are not." So they deny.
But I can damn well prove you that the guy who's shooting at me is in that cave.
Yo, he's in there.
Yeah, so that's his bad.
This is where we need flamethrowers.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing too. Is I remember in my 2009 deployment, that was when the rules of engagement really got totally screwed up. And we had, if we wanted to drop CAS, we needed to call back to a bunker to some guy who would wake up the commander, who was obviously sleeping at night, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
And
that's what humans do.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, so we would op at night because we wanted the enemy to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And he would have to. They'd have to wake him up. They'd have to brief him, and then he'd make the decision whether or not he or she would make the decision whether or not it was justified to drop a bomb. By this time, 2 hours had gone by, and we've either killed the bad guys or we've gotten out of Dodge.
Yeah, just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the micromanagement. Yeah, when the gloves are off, and especially when they, even collateral damage, when they give us that latitude, we were better. We're not, I mean, we have the latitude, but we didn't use it because we're precise.
Right.
But then they start restricting you, 0 collateral damage. You're not going to do anything with that.
Well, it's the thing. I mean, wars need to be fought to win. And like, look, if I could go my whole life, and I tell all my friends, I'm like, we'll get drunk at a bar, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'd love to shoot someone or something, and I'm like, dude, you have no idea what you're talking. Like, I don't wish war upon anybody.
No, me either.
I don't wish killing upon anyone, because, like, as much as I don't want to die myself, like, if I have to pull that trigger, I had to break into my house. I went downstairs to, deal with the situation. It's in my book, and I didn't fire a single shot because I didn't want to take a life. And the judge told me when they wanted to charge me with excessive force for kids who broke into my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and a judge was like, why didn't you shoot him? He was like, you were well within your legal right under Castle Doctrine. I said, man, I just came back from killing a ton of people, and I don't want to take lives if I don't have to.
Yeah, no,
I just want to have somebody not threaten my family.
That's it. Just stay out. Get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, again, like before 9/11, everyone wanted to go to war. Then you go to war, it's like, man, I don't wish war. I mean, this is some serious stuff.
Well, what's crazy too is, like, as you go through your first few ops. Like, I remember my first deployment I was scared out of my mind. And don't get me wrong, I was scared out of my mind every time. Not out of my mind, but I was scared every single time I left the wire, because I was like, is this the night?
Isn't it?
This could be the night I don't come back.
Yeah, and all it takes is one bad step, a lucky shot, and it's over.
Yeah, I mean, and you roll the dice enough times, you're going to get bit.
Oh yeah.
And we got hit by some IDs. You've seen some stuff, and it's like, you talk about these things with people who've never been there, that don't understand. They don't have the same appreciation for America that we do. And when I see stuff like people saying, "Oh, I'd love to go to war," or "Screw the flag," or "Kneel for the flag," it hurts, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've never seen it. You've never. Yeah. I've seen. You've seen, like, real poverty. I've seen kids in Afghanistan so poor they can't afford clothes. Yeah. Naked kids standing in open sewage.
Yeah.
That's poverty.
Eating bugs.
Whatever they can find.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah. I mean, this is a great place. This country's a great place, and and even again going back to the flag, doesn't matter what you look like. If you're killed in combat, you come back in red, white, and blue.
Right.
They give a flag to your mom or your wife, or your husband.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And yeah, I mean, this is a great place. You can do anything.
Yeah.
And like that, my book, The Operator, I wrote that based on, it's called The Operator because that's the life of the operator. That's what Rangers and Marines and SEALs, the operator does. And it's just a positive attitude, teamwork, one step at a time, one meal at a time, one evolution at a time. And you can do anything you want. It's because of this country. A lot of places you can't do that.
Yeah. And I see, and that's the message I see now from a lot of this Trump opposition is that, America, like Cuomo, America was never great. It's like, bro, you have never stepped outside your bubble. And if America isn't great, you explain to me why your family has been in charge for 3 or 4 decades.
Yeah, and how you haven't fixed it.
Yeah, and haven't fixed it yet. I mean,
well, yeah, and he said that ICE is a bunch of thugs. So law enforcement that is enforcing the law, they're thugs now.
Yeah,
and it's just I don't get it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the politicians, they've been there for so long. Again, I brought up John James from Michigan, my friend.
I love that dude.
He's awesome. Running for Senate, and he's running against Debbie Stabenow, who's been a 40-plus year politician. She admitted that she didn't know there were veterans problems for the last 10 years because she's running against an Apache pilot, Ranger Tab Apache pilot. Now she should just say she's all about the vets because I just didn't pay attention.
Yeah,
but that's the kind of stuff. Like, if it's so bad, why haven't you fixed it? Why does Maxine Waters' district look so horrible?
Yeah, they don't even have, like, their roads have potholes the size of garbage cans.
Yeah.
She doesn't even, she doesn't even live in the district.
No, of course not.
And then her daughter owns some company, some consulting company and gets paid like $500,000 a year. It's like, are you kidding me? And you have a problem with Trump? Or, I mean, this is...
Well, again, it goes back into the selfish party politics. If they can keep their voters voting, they get personal power. They get to stay in the party.
Yeah, so, I mean, it is, to me, that kind of stuff, like, I'm sitting here rubbing my temples right now because it gives me such a headache when I see people that are so ungrateful. My friends who have kids who are, teenagers and stuff like that, and some of them are in this mindset from school where they're being taught that, like, things about America are so bad, and it's like, dude, go to Venezuela or go to Chad, Sudan, Nigeria, Somalia. Like,
well, even look at the people that quit their jobs and they said they're going to ride their bikes around the world to prove that people are generally good, and they got stabbed to death and probably beheaded by ISIS.
Yeah,
like there are people. It's just sad. I mean, there are people out there that don't like you because you don't believe what they believe. Yeah, and that's real, and it's not. It's just. I mean, it's a real thing, and not. I mean, the majority of people are good, but there are a few bad eggs out there that just
a lot of bad eggs, man, and to stick your head in the sand and say we don't need stuff like ICE and their thugs and to hate cops. I mean, like, we're going back to Kaepernick. We're wearing, pig socks because you're I mean, like, then first off, the numbers and the statistics don't support his narrative whatsoever.
No.
And when I see someone disrespect a cop, man, that puts me into war mode.
I'll tell you what, I agree. I mean, I work with cops quite a bit, and they put up with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And again, and I know that it's been said over and over, but when something happens, that's the first people you call.
Right.
And they're going to come in. You see videos weekly of cops running into burning buildings.
Yeah.
I saw it last week, and then they're,
for $40,000 a year.
Yeah, and they just, I mean, I wish that narrative was different because generally cops are they're good people. They really are. I mean, I've gotten tickets before that I couldn't talk my way out of, but whatever. I mean, they're generally good. I think people are generally good too. But the narrative, especially with someone like Eric Holder that was kind of bad-mouthing the cops, people are going to listen to him and they're going to turn it into something us against them.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what went down. It's just too bad.
That's what's gone down in a lot of these. I mean, like, you look at the Freddie Gray case, and which is one of Kaepernick's like token instances. Freddie Gray when he got put in the van and killed by cops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're standing up there talking. They're protesting for racial inequality. I'm like, so let me get this straight. Under a half-black president with a black attorney general, with a black police chief, a black district attorney, a majority black police force, you're pissed off about racial inequality? Like, give me a break, man.
Well, then they'll turn it into it's just the cops against us. It's all this.
Yeah. It's not, man.
It's again. I'm white kid from Montana. I don't have a lot of the same experiences, but yeah, I don't like seeing cops get shit on.
Well, that's the thing, and since my resignation, I've actually gone around and I've taken time to spend time in some of the communities, the ones that I probably offended the most by, like, some asshole comments I made, just trying to get ratings, and I've gotten a chance to meet them, and they're like, you know what, Carl, like, whatever, you said some stupid stuff, like, and this is the very communities that the white liberals are saying that I offended so badly.
Yes,
and they're like, yo, you're good, man, like, we're cool.
And that would be nice too if people, people say dumb stuff. Trust me, I've said dumb stuff. But it's like if you're sincere with an apology, I think you should. But I think we're too quick to label everybody too.
Yeah.
But I think if someone is legit, hey, I'm an idiot. That was fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, 5 years ago, I was no fan of Kanye West. I thought he was an arrogant SOB, and nothing to do with skin color. I didn't like the Kardashians because I thought that they were just like a bad influence on society because they were like literally famous for being famous.
Yes.
And people idolized them. And, now I see they come over, and not their support for Trump has made me, has made me kind of like them, as much as the fact that I really like the fact that they're encouraging this free thought.
No, I do too. Yeah. I like that Kim Kardashian went to the Oval Office and talked about freeing that woman who was life in prison for marijuana, and President Trump pardoned her.
Yeah.
That's fiction stuff. It's a deal.
And you know what? Like,
and I don't think she's a huge Trump fan.
She's not.
But she went there and she did something.
Yeah.
And they worked it out. That's how you can do it. I mean,
maybe our Democratic senators and congressmen can take a page out of that notebook. And now, the left wants to crucify them. It's like, they're not. Like, look, Kanye, he likes Trump on a personal level, and they get along, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But, for them to say,
for people to just blanketly now write off Kanye West, like,
Yeah.
that's
And they will too. And there's both sides of that. Like President Trump, famous for Twitter, obviously. I think missed on a couple golden opportunities with Steph Curry. How he said, well, he's just not invited for winning the title of LeBron. I mean, that's an opportunity to extend the olive branch, man.
Yeah.
I mean, now LeBron said he would never go there to the White House. But it just sucks that people turn their backs, man. Imagine if President Trump and LeBron got along.
Whoa.
That would be something for the whole country.
But the thing is like Trump is, my wife wasn't a Trump person. She was a Jeb Bush fan, and this is the thing about Trump that people don't know is that, and you've met the guy. Yeah. She was like, I really don't care too much to meet him. Like, he's not my. This is during the primary when Jeb was still in the race. She's like, he's not really my guy. He's not going to win anyway. And yeah, so I was like, you know what? Just meet the guy. And she met him, and she left that room and said, my God, he made me feel like I was the most important person ever.
He's good at that. You'll notice too, like the more if you're a president or a billionaire or both, chances are you're pretty charismatic.
Yeah,
and that's what he was too. Well, we went to dinner at the White House. My wife and I and Pete Hegseth and his girlfriend, and we had dinner. And President Trump said, "We're done with dinner," and he said, "Hey, do you want to see the Lincoln bedroom?" And it's like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
So we go upstairs. We walk in there. Here's Abe Lincoln's bed. Here's Abe Lincoln's desk. Went to the window facing the south lawn. Underneath glass is the Gettysburg Address, signed by Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
A total out-of-body experience, right?
Oh, yeah.
I turn around, President Trump is leaning against the wall, and he goes, Rob, not everybody gets to see this. Unless, of course, you donate to the Clinton Foundation. And I'm like, you just can't help yourself. Yeah. You just can't stop.
That's awesome. I mean, here's the thing is, like, look, I would have gone to the White House when Barack Obama was president.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like the guy at all, but...
Respect the office.
I respect the office. And I said in my book, like, I was pretty hard on Obama. I was like, but he's still the commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
Got to give him something.
Yep. And he, different ideas. He's trying to do what he thinks is best.
Yeah.
Just different ideas.
Yeah,
people just think different.
Happened to fail in every time they were implemented. But
yeah. Well, I was involved with two of his calls because he just got in office when we left Virginia Beach to rescue Richard Phillips, and he let us go on the Bin Laden raid. So it's like I can't be too mad at him.
Yeah, exactly. He let
that healthcare thing's another story.
Yeah.
Again,
that's a whole new podcast.
Looks great on paper.
Yeah,
looks great on paper. Everyone should get healthcare. I'd love it.
Yeah,
it's just pretty expensive. Free stuff is expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rob, thanks for taking the time. How can people follow you?
On Twitter and Instagram @McHuya. That's a funny story.
Yeah, tell me that story.
McHuya, obviously,
because I kind of made fun of you the first time.
Oh yeah, well, so did I. There was a couple of us at SEAL Team 6 that they said, "Hey, you got to get on Twitter because we just fuck with each other." And so I thought, "Oh, Huya for SEALs and McHuya for being an Irish SEAL." So I put at McHuya. 7 followers. My name leaks. I get 10,000 followers overnight. I'm like,
Jeez.
Shit, I guess I'm McHuya now.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is when I was at the dawn of social media, kind of the same time you were, and so. They were group 2. I wasn't a damn neck. I was over at the vanilla, what they call the vanilla teams.
The vanilla. That always pissed me off.
Yeah. So which is ironic because my nickname was the Vanilla Gorilla.
Well, yeah. Obviously.
So they.
The only difference is the gorilla can't bench press as much as you can.
So they tell me, they're like, look, we're putting out all of our alerts for family events and like special things through Facebook. And I'm like, but we just sat through a thing like 30 days ago saying we can't be on Facebook. Yeah, so I'm like, which is it, homie?
Yeah.
So that's funny. So you get the book, The Operator?
The Operator's the book.
It's in Das Boot.
I got like 3 languages, Der Operator. So we got it in Czech, German, the Queen's English. So we spell Valor with a U in there somewhere. I think Spanish, Portuguese, French, a couple languages. Pretty cool. That's out there. You can get signed copies at robertjoneal.com, which will direct you to rjoapparel.com.
Oh, snap. Apparel.
Yeah. Apparel, hats and stuff. And we do have the shirt, even though we're not trying to get too political about it, with the nice red, white, and blue skull on the front that says I stand up.
Nice.
Yes.
Maybe you should like get a cologne called like Essence of American or something.
What is it going to smell like?
I want royalties
burning.
on that.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
going to smell like bacon.
It's obviously bacon and beer.
All right, Rob. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
for
Carl.
joining me.
Thanks for having me.